Hi, I'm Jules Follett, and I'm on Musicians on the Record.
I'm going down the list of the drummers in this book that you did, and these are the best drummers of all time, Jules. Louis Bellson, Steve Gadd, Jim Keltner, Hal Blaine, Ringo and Charlie, Ginger Baker, just to name a few. What inspired you to do this book in the first place?
Well, for many years, my husband and I were doing entertainment photography. So we would go to shows and we would be in the photo pit, and you always kind of know when you get that money shot if the artist looks at you or does a jump or something, memorable. And so we would get the first three songs, which is, typically what happens there. And I would say to him, I bet you can't get a photo of that drummer in the back. I'm going to get a better photo than you're going to get. So it was a little game we played with each other. And we were doing about 300 shows a year. And we were working with Chuck Berry at one point, and Liberty was working with Chuck. He was the drummer on that gig. And we were talking to Lib backstage, and I said, I've got all these drummers, pictures of these drummers from so many shows. I don't know who they are. Of course, I know what band they're with. But he said, maybe someday I'll do a coffee table book. And he said, it's never been done, which was music to my ears. I mean, I really suspected that there would be hundreds and hundreds of books like that out there.
Wow.
And again, I'm not a musician, so I had a very different idea about the music business. And so he said, never been done. And I said, well, if I did it, would you help me? And he said, absolutely. Mm. So a couple months later, we went to NAMM, and he walked me around, and he walked up to people, like Danny Sywell and Danny Serafin and, Simon Phillips and, all these A-list guys. And, I didn't know who they were. Liberty just said, she's going to give us a voice. Give her your card. Hmm. And of course, Liberty has such credibility that no one said no. Everybody wanted to be on it. Liberty was part of it.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, this is Liberty DeVito, the drummer for Billy Joel.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So there was over 100 that I had at that first NAMM show. And so I started the ball rolling with that. And in the true spirit of drummers and the camaraderie that they have with each other, they would say, well, do you have so-and-so? My buddy, do you have? And I'd say, no, sheepishly. And they'd say, well, hold on a minute, and they'd give me information, their email information. One funny part of it was I had about 400 drummers, and I really knew I needed Jim Keltner in the book. So, that was a must.
Yeah.
And so I finally got a hold of Jim Keltner, and he started asking me that question: do you have so and so? Do you have John Densmore? Do you have Mick Fleetwood? Do you have? And every one he asked me, I said no, but I had 400.
Right.
So I said, well, he said, hold on a minute. So he's not a big email guy. Well, he's the first to tell you that.
Okay.
So he gave me people's phone numbers. And I said, well, now, can I tell them that he said, absolutely. Wow. So I'll never forget, I picked up, and the first one I called was John Densmore. Mm. And everybody I called did not pick up. I left a message. So Densmore called me back, and he said, I don't know what this is about, but if Jim Keltner says I should do it, I'm in. And that was 27 drummers because Jim Keltner gave me those people. Wow. And to this day, I'm forever grateful. He's just a very, very kind person and become a good friend.
Oh, that's incredible. Fantastic. Thank you, Jim Keltner. So
yeah. So then 53 cities, 2.5 years later, the book had 514 drummers in it. And at one point, it was kind of funny because at NAMM, was another NAMM, a marketing company came to me and they said, we want to talk to you about marketing your book and PR, I said, great. So I showed them, some of the things that I had, some of the pull sheets, and I said, well, I got 400, and they said, oh no, you're going to have to cut way back, way, 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 way back. You need 200 at the most. And I said, well, can't really do that because I promised these people, and they've signed releases that they're going to be in the book.
Yeah.
And they said, well, the book's going to be too big, too heavy. It's not going to be able to be, put into stores to be shelved. It's going to be too expensive to ship. I mean, they had all these negatives about it. So I said, let me sleep on it and get back to you in the morning. So we had another meeting in the morning, and I said, you know what? If I don't sell one book, it's okay. What's not okay is that I have to go back to, again, the book is not just all about A-list, because the magazines do a beautiful job covering that. And I certainly I wanted to show the camaraderie. I wanted to show, Eddie Dodori's Traps, kid that, has got Down syndrome. I wanted to show Ray LeVere, the burn victim that drums, and Dan Castro, that, that really, that's what the story is about. And the way that they take care of each other, they trust each other, and they share with each other. And it was really, that's what it was all about. That's what the book was for.
Fantastic.
So I got to 514, and I had permission to shoot Ringo from Elizabeth, this lovely publicist that's become a good friend. And Kathy Rich, I had, the beginning of the book is Lissa Wales photos. So there was a Buddy Rich shot that I knew I needed a release from Kathy Rich, and I needed Ringo's release. So I knew I couldn't do the book without Buddy Rich and Ringo. So
right.
514 now, okay? So I was sitting in I was at my hairdresser, and I was sitting in the chair, and I'm telling him, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I've been praying about this, and I don't know. I really need these two and whatever. And kind of almost crying, like, what am I going to do? So all of a sudden my phone rings, and I had this wonderful attorney, Alan Arrow from New York, who was like Led Zeppelin's attorney back, in the day. And like everybody I talked to lawyer-wise knew who Alan Arrow was. But he was about 87 years old when he did the book with me.
Amazing.
So he called me and he said, well, guess what? He said he just signed the release, and we're good to go with Ringo.
Awesome.
And I said, but I need Kathy Rich to sign, and on a stack of Bibles. 10 minutes later, he called me. He goes, I don't know how your prayers are working. He goes, Kathy just signed off.
That's fantastic. Wow.
So then I knew that it was like God's will that the book was done.